Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Lords of the Night. With me, as always, is the Lord of Pain, Ranting Monkey.
Hello.
And I'm your host, Scribe. The Lord of Punishment. The Lord of Pennies is taking the night off. He's had a busy day and was feeling sleepy, so he's going to take a breather. And for now, it is the Scribe and Money show. It may add on another person sooner or later. We'll see who might answer the call. But until then, Monkey, how are you doing? Oops.
I'm okay. I'm waking up, but normal body things going, hey, Monkey, we're still waking up. This twitches and that twitches, but I'm happy because I got to spend time with Peanut today, and she was not Peanut, Pumpkin, and she was a hoot today. How you doing, man?
It's been a day, I guess. Lots of work, busy, and then it's kind of a black kind of day. It was the weather was really cruddy. It was really gray and dark out. I was like, ugh. And thankfully, it's not too cold. But I was just kind of in a blah mood. But here I am to be with my friend and all of you. Hello, chat. Keyfordam says, no more Satsu. Satsu is taking the night off. He had he's had a busy day apparently and just needed some time off, and so taking the day. We might have a special guest or two, depending on things. We'll see. But until then, Monkey Dick, Jim Jones, movies, video games. Hit that like button if you haven't already. And please share our stuff. Said it many times. We'll say it again. YouTube does very little these days to help promote smaller content creators or even larger content creators they just don't happen to like. So if you like a content creator, whether it's us or anybody else, be sure to let people know that you do by liking our stuff and subscribing and sharing our streams and links and such. Appreciate it when you do. Thank you, Connor Johnson. Have you heard of the Christmas shoes? It sucks. I have heard of it. I may have even... Was it a show or a book or something?
It is both a movie and a song. It's a movie based on a song.
Yeah, I've heard of the show or the movie. Yeah.
They're both horrible. It's about a little boy who's just trying to buy shoes for his dying mom at Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
Lovely sentiment for Christmas.
Yeah. But that's as close as I've ever gotten to that. But thank you. This is Kyle. Hello, chat people in Lawton. Hello, Kyle. Hope you're doing well. Anything to mention or plug before we get into the wonderful world of the schnuzz?
Just that I don't know what I'm doing tonight, guys. I do have my internet back, thank God.
Yay.
And hat tip to AT&T for how quickly they got that to me, because that had to be sent to me. So that was really fast.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I will be around. I just don't know where, guys.
Lady Gopher says, my 87-year-old dad just went into hip replacement surgery. Thank you for a distraction. Oh, gosh, my boss had to do that a couple of years ago. But after it was over with, he was all healed up. He was in so much better shape, much less pain he was in, I should say. But so all the best to your dad. Sorry, 87. Ooh, well, he'll be much better off for it in the end, I'm sure. Now I know we have a birthday. I don't know if the birthday person is here yet, but if Shady Grin happens to be in the chat, please say hello, and then we will sing. But until then, let's get into a little bit of the schnuzz.
Oh, he says I am here.
Oh, he is here. Well, Monkey.
Shady, it's your birthday, and around here we do this. This one's for you, and a 1 and a 2.
Happy birthday to you.
Why you gotta have a birthday though?
Happy birthday to you.
What's with that and shit?
Happy birthday, dear Shady.
Happy birthday though.
Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday, sir. I hope you had a good one.
It is also, I hope I get this right, Elowin's birthday. Is that right? Elowin? Tell me I got that right.
Elowin. Oh, it's your birthday. And around here we do this. This one's for you. And a 1. And a 2.
Happy birthday to you.
But then,
Happy birthday to you.
why your mom and dad not use a condom?
Happy birthday, dear Elowen.
Happy birthday, though.
Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday, Elowen. I hope you had a good one as well.
All right. All that out of the way. Let's get into this. So I was talking about this with my folks while I was visiting them last weekend. And we were talking about the vaccine coming out, and they're kind of like, well, who's going to get it first? And I'm kind of like, well, as far as I know, it's going to be, the frontline people first, the medical people, and the most vulnerable and all that. And my dad said something which I know isn't a new observation, but it just kind of reminded me. He says, well, I guess all the necessary and vulnerable people will be the first guinea pigs for it. And I'm like, yep. And with that in mind, 4 trial volunteers who got Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine developed Bell's palsy. But FDA denies that it was that the temporary facial paralysis was caused by the shot. Okay. 4 people who got Pfizer's coronavirus vaccine in the firm's trial developed Bell's palsy, a form of temporary facial paralysis, according to U.S. regulators' report on the shot. Food and Drug Administration regulators said there wasn't any clear way that the vaccine caused Bell's palsy, but warned that doctors should watch for the alarming side effect and Pfizer should continue to keep tabs on how many people it strikes. No one knows what exactly causes Bell's palsy, which resolves on its own most of the time. This isn't the first time it's been linked to vaccines, but scientists have ultimately ruled that shots did not trigger Bell's in all but one case, a Swiss flu vaccine that was sold during the 2001-2002 flu season, then promptly taken off the market. So far, the FDA said that the number of Bell's palsy cases seen in the Pfizer vaccine trial was, quote, consistent with the background frequency of reported Bell's palsy in the vaccine group that is consistent with the expected background rate in the general population, and there is no clear basis upon which to conclude a causal relationship at this time. Sorry, causal relationship, not casual relationship. But it will keep a close watch on future cases.
How many people had gotten the shot?
They didn't say. So out of however many was in the trial, they don't know what percentage 4 makes, but I'm assuming it's a relatively small number, but I don't know.
At least it's Bell's and not like cerebral palsy.
Yeah, no, something more permanent, I suppose. But
I love you. Good night, baby.
Bye, Lady Monkey. And I think it was no, I guess Pfizer's was one of the ones that says was like 90% effective. Which was it? AstraZeneca said that theirs was 70% effective.
70.
Yeah, that was what I read today. Is that they're reporting that theirs is 70.4% effective or something, whereas the Pfizer one and the what was the other company? The Pfizer and the other ones, they said it was 90% or 90.
One was 90, one was 95. Yeah.
Yeah, I forget what the other. I suddenly forget all the companies making drugs all of a sudden. I'm sure somebody in the chat will remind me. But anyway, so just like my dad said, if there is, depending on whose vaccine goes where and how, if there's a problem that's persistent, we'll hear about it. But unfortunately, we'll hear about it from the people. Probably you don't want to get something bad happen right off the bat, but we'll see. Let's see. Off to the wonderful world of politics. House approves defense bill with veto-proof majority after Trump urges GOP opposition. The House of Representatives on Tuesday overwhelmingly approved a sweeping defense bill with a veto-proof majority after a veto threat from President Donald Trump sharply divided Republican lawmakers, forcing them to choose between loyalty to him and legislation that sets defense policy for the country. Interesting. The vote, which broke down to 335 to 78, is a major rebuke to the president. I thought he was a dictator.
Yes.
I thought he had like ultimate power and was going to like pull all the puppet strings to make everything go his way. Okay. The National Defense Authorization Act, which will next head to the Senate, where it is also expected to pass with bipartisan support, though it is not yet clear if it will similarly reach a veto-proof majority in the chamber. If the House ends up voting to override a presidential veto, that vote could be far narrower, however, because at least some Republicans are likely to change their votes in order to sustain a veto. House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy, who said that he would vote in favor of the bill but would vote to sustain a veto, insisted that Republican House members will back the president if he vetoes the legislation. Quote, "I think they would stand with the president," unquote, he said when asked if there would be enough GOP votes to sustain the president's position. The $740 billion bill includes pay raises for America's soldiers, modernizations for equipment, and provisions to require more scrutiny before troops are withdrawn from Germany or Afghanistan, but that hasn't stopped Trump's threats against it. Trump has threatened to veto the bill because it doesn't include a repeal of Section 230, a law that shields internet companies from being liable for what is posted on their websites by them or third parties. The bill also includes provisions to limit how much money Trump can move around for his border wall, and another that would require the military to rename bases that were named after figures from the Confederacy. Okay. On Tuesday morning, the president urged House Republicans to oppose the bill just hours ahead of a scheduled vote, saying, quote, "I hope House Republicans will vote against the very weak National Defense Authorization Act, which I will veto," unquote. I don't know enough about all the ins and outs of all that. Does the 230 thing make any sense in a defense authorization bill in the first place?
Not really. It's the kind of thing that gets tacked on because they're trying to force it to be done.
Yeah.
That's normal Washington politics, and I wish they didn't do that shit. I really do.
Mm-hmm.
I just love the veto-proof majority thing. It's such a weird terminology we have because it's not veto-proof.
Yeah.
As they explained, it just means that right now, if he vetoed, they could override it, which they should. Look, I want 230 fixed. There's some other things that he's demanding that, okay. But it's just such a bad look. Yeah. Fix what needs fixed it, and I'll be happy, but they're not even doing that, so.
Now, do we expect much else these days? Ever,
Not
really? No. Let's see. Well, this is big news all over the place today, and I'm still not quite sure I understand what the ins and outs are, but we will take CNN's take on it. Raid of former Florida COVID data scientist's home, try saying that 5 times fast, could affect other state employees, legal experts warn. The former Florida state data scientist, whose house was raided by police on Monday, says she isn't just worried about the legal ramifications she's facing, but also for other state employees who leaked her damaging information on Florida's coronavirus response. Rebecca Jones, who was fired after accusing Governor Ron DeSantis' administration of minimizing the pandemic and skewing state data, attracted national attention after her house was raided by armed state police on Monday morning. State authorities are investigating whether she accessed a government messaging system without authorization to send a message urging her former colleagues to speak out about coronavirus deaths. Jones has denied sending the message, but she told CNN she fears the computers and phone that the state police seized from her Tallahassee home could expose her sources in the government to retaliation. I'm confused.
Okay. So why'd they take them?
Yeah, quote, "On my phone is every communication I've ever had with someone who works at the state who has come to me in confidence and told me things that could get them fired or in trouble like this," unquote, Jones told CNN's Chris Cuomo on Monday night. Quote, "And I just want to say to all those people right now, if he doesn't know already, DeSantis will know soon enough that you've been talking to me, so be careful," unquote. Why would people come to her? I mean, if she was a reporter or something, this would be a different situation. I don't understand.
Is she trying to make the jump to be one? Because she's a former researcher, right?
Yeah, I don't know. Jones was fired from the state health department in May. Okay. She claimed she was terminated for refusing to manipulate coronavirus data, but state officials have said she was insubordinate and didn't consult with epidemiological experts. Since her firing, she's emerged as a public critic of the DeSantis administration's approach to the pandemic, blasting the governor and publishing her own dashboard of coronavirus stats. Jones said she received various internal records from people who worked for the state, including what she said was proof that state officials, quote, were lying in January about things like internal reports and notices from the CDC, unquote. The evidence was on, quote, a bunch of flash drives, unquote, that officers took when they raided her house, she said. Jones, who was not arrested or criminally charged, also had documents that she had legally accessed when she was a state employee, she said. So wait, armed police raid her house and seize a bunch of stuff, but she's not charged with anything and not arrested.
Well, that last part that she said there makes me wonder. It was she had stuff that she legally obtained while she was a state employee, but were you legally allowed to keep them?
Yeah. Now legal experts say the material could theoretically be used to target Jones's sources. Sources for what? Again, is she acting as a journalist? I don't understand. Sources. I mean, were they coming to her with this stuff so she could put it out on her blog anonymously, kind of thing?
That's what it sounds like. Like they said she became a resistor basically for the DeSantis thing, and yeah, maybe people were dropping her lines, going, "This is going on. This is what I have."
Could she claim? Source protection. I mean, like laws protecting journalists in that case.
She can try to, but
yeah. I mean, if she was posting stuff and if she was being critical of the government and posting information, she might be able to claim shield laws or some other thing. I mean, obviously First Amendment as well. I'm just curious. Yeah, but this is weird. Now legal experts say the material could theoretically be used to target Jones's sources. Right. The search warrant allowed officers to recover, quote, any and all computer equipment, unquote, that stores or transmits data, including hard drives, devices, software, and correspondence, quote, pertaining to the possession, receipt, origin, or distribution of data involving the facilitation of computer crimes offenses, unquote. Okay, thank you, Joe Lopez. She used illegal access to the state's emergency response system, sending out a message to all internal government employees. She was changing data on the state COVID dashboard without authorization.
Oh.
Well, they're saying that she was maintaining her own dashboard, she was blasting the government, publishing her own dashboard of coronavirus stats. So was she doing it independently, but also dialing into the state system as well?
Well, we're getting her version of what happened.
That's true. It's difficult to tell from the CNN story because they don't quote her except in those specific instances. So the warrant was extremely broad. Lawrence Walters, Jones's attorney, told CNN, quote, we would hope that this is a targeted investigation to search for what they claim they were searching for. If their true intent is to investigate all of her personal communications and investigate her sources, that would demonstrate this is abusive and retaliatory. Okay. Employment attorneys in Florida said that state workers who leaked internal records to Jones could face disciplinary action or possible legal trouble, although they might be able to seek protection under state whistleblower laws. Right. Jones filed a whistleblower complaint with the Florida Commission on Human Relations in July, asking to be reinstated with back pay. That complaint is still pending and is confidential at this stage of the process, according to Walters, her lawyer. Given the events of Monday, I'd be surprised if would she want her job back? I don't know. That's bizarre. Let's see. Yeah, they don't go into anything else except talking more about whistleblower laws and things. Let's see. The investigation of Jones comes as DeSantis is facing increasing scrutiny over his handling of the coronavirus pandemic. Even as coronavirus cases in Florida have spiked again over the last month and a half, DeSantis has refused to allow municipalities in the state to enforce their own mask mandates or stricter social distancing laws. That limitation of local control has been criticized by mayors from both parties. An investigation by the South Florida Sun-Sentinel, published last week, found that DeSantis' administration worked to minimize bad news about the pandemic and spread misinformation. Some health department spokespeople were told in September not to issue statements until after the November election, and officials withheld crucial data about the spread of the virus, the newspaper reported. Jones, who helped build the state's coronavirus dashboard, has become one of the governor's harshest critics, publicly alleging that DeSantis was to blame for the mounting death toll. Okay, well, I mean, that is a long and involved article. I appreciate that level of detail. It took 2 people to write this story, and I believe it this time. There you go.
I suppose.
I mean, it's a rare instance, but I'll take it for what it is. Oh, boy. Let's see. What else do we have? Have you been keeping up with the Supreme Court today, Monkey?
I got to see very little because I got my internet back right about the time Pumpkin got here. And then right after she left, I went straight to bed because I was exhausted. Okay.
So I've heard this story, and I've seen varying interpretations of what the court did and did not say. So I'll read this and we'll see if it tells us anything. Supreme Court rejects Pennsylvania Republicans' attempt to block Biden victory. The Supreme Court on Tuesday denied a request from Pennsylvania Republicans to block certification of the Commonwealth's election results, delivering a near-fatal blow to the GOP's long-shot bid to invalidate President-elect Joe Biden's victory. The Supreme Court's action is a crushing loss for Trump, who has frequently touted the High Court's potential to overturn his election loss. Now, I've seen different people on Twitter, and granted it is Twitter, read the announcement from the court in different ways, that while they denied one thing, they weren't throwing out the lawsuit. But I don't know. I don't have it in front of me, unfortunately. If somebody's got that, handy in the chat, if you know what I'm talking about, because I've seen different people tell me different things. Just hours before the court's order was released, Trump made a direct appeal to state officials and members of the Supreme Court to assist him in his efforts to subvert the will of voters. Is that really the interpretation you want to go with? As he continually and falsely suggested there was massive voter fraud during the election. Is this an opinion piece? No, this is 2 people just writing. Okay, quote, let's see whether or not somebody has the courage, whether it's the legislators or legislatures or a justice of the Supreme Court or a number of justices of the Supreme Court, Trump said. Quote, let's see if they have the courage to do what everybody in this country knows is right, unquote. Tuesday's one-line order was issued with no noted dissents or comments from any of the 9 justices. Are you going to show me the order again? There it is. Okay, so here's what it said. The application for injunctive relief presented to Justice Alito and by him referred to the court is denied.
All right. But that's just the Pennsylvania thing, right? Because there was the Texas lawsuit that was blowing up when I first woke up today. Yeah,
the Texas one, last I saw, 6-3, they said they'd hear it. So I suppose the Texas one is still coming. But people have said that this one line doesn't destroy the Pennsylvania case. It just denies the application for injunctive relief. And I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know what the heck that means. Thank you, understatement. South Carolina denied emergency
Supreme Court.
Sorry. I get my abbreviations. Supreme Court denied emergency injunction, which is the pause to certification, not certiorari, which is actually seeing the case. They may combine the 2 cases. Aha. Okay. I see. I'm not the lawyer here. I took a couple of classes of criminal justice, but otherwise, okay. Yeah, different people are telling me this is not necessarily the end, but just a pause. So thank you, understatement. Thank you, everyone. But CNN is touting this as it's all over with. Do they ever talk about the actual legal ramifications? Tuesday's action comes after weeks of desperate appeals and baseless conspiracies pushed by the president and his allies. They're not baseless. I'm sorry. It may all turn out to be nothing if they can, prove it. But the boxes of stuff coming out from the mystery table, I mean, doesn't anybody think that looks a little shady?
There's a lot of shady that has been going on for. I'm tired of hearing that. Now, if you want to say there's no evidence, I mean, I suppose it depends on what you want to see. But there's plenty to question, and if you have good answers for it, that's fine.
Yeah, and so the baseless, it's that word, baseless.
Mm-hmm.
There is a basis on which to be suspicious of certain events. like Monkey said, if there is a reasonable explanation, if there is context that makes it not suspicious, well, then that's all that's needed. But unless or until that happens, if no explanation is provided, there's a basis for suspicion. Now, whether or not all the suspicions combined would have flipped the election to Trump, I don't know. But this constant refrain of there's no voter fraud, like, well, isn't there? It's not. I am not seeking to be a conspiracy theorist, but you guys aren't giving me any reason to think that everything you're saying is like this baseless. Like, then explain these things. Like, what? Just the suitcase video, you know, whatever you want to call it, the table suitcase video. Of all the things that have been presented to me so far, that is video proof of something goofy going on. A table is rolled into the room, and then suddenly boxes of votes appear from out from underneath it. Like I say, if there's a reasonable explanation for it, go great. Until then, even if there is not enough voter fraud to overturn the election, suspicions are not baseless. They keep saying that, and it just makes CNN and all these other news places sound more and more like propaganda machines, more so than they ever were before. But anyway, moving on. How about something even more stupid?
Sure.
Olivia J. Giannulli speaks out for the first time about her family's, quote, big mistake, unquote.
Why do I know that name?
Well, she would be the daughter of Lori Loughlin.
Okay.
Yeah, and you know, when I think of a big mistake, you know, I don't know that, you know, a momentary lapse of judgment, you know, maybe a misinterpreted reaction to something like that. Not a months-long, hundreds of thousands of dollars negotiation to fake your way into college. That's not a mistake.
No.
Sure, that's a choice. At that point, you've made a choice.
It was outright fraud, yeah.
Yeah. Olivia J. Giannulli is opening up about the college admissions scandal that landed her parents, actress Lori Loughlin and designer Massimo Giannulli, in prison. The beauty influencer, which is the dumbest job title ever, appeared on a new episode of Red Table Talk Tuesday, explaining that she wanted to, quote, publicly share my experience for the first time, unquote, in a, quote, place that really feels safe. Red Table Talk. I don't even know what that is. Jada Pinkett Smith, who hosts the Facebook Watch show with her mother, Adrienne Banfield Jones, and daughter Willow Smith. You feel safe? Okay. Said in a teaser, quote, Olivia Jade felt it was time to speak. Oh, my. Loughlin and Giannulli admitted to paying William Rick Singer $500,000 to help get their two daughters admitted to the University of Southern California. The parents pleaded guilty to conspiracy charges earlier this year. Giannulli began serving a 5-month sentence at the Federal Correctional Complex, Lompoc, last month, or Lompoc. Loughlin, who is serving a 2-month prison sentence at the Federal Correctional Institution in Dublin, California, is scheduled for release in a few weeks. Quote, it's been hard. For anybody, no matter what the situation is, you don't want to see your parents go to prison, but also I think it's necessary for us to move on and move forward, said Olivia J. Giannulli, who goes by her first and middle names professionally. Oh, well. Quote, what happened was wrong, and I think every single person in my family can look at it and be like, that was messed up, that was a big mistake, but I think what's so important to me is to learn from the mistake, not to be shamed and punished and never given a second chance. I'm 21. I feel like I deserve a second chance to redeem myself to show I've grown, unquote. She added that she hasn't spoken to her parents recently due to COVID-19 protocols. Olivia J. Giannulli revealed that when she was applying to colleges, she, quote, wasn't fully aware of what was going on.
Bullshit.
And had been living in a bubble where paying a college recruiter was the norm. Quote, when it first happened, I didn't look at it and say, oh my God, like, how dare we do this? I was like, why is everybody complaining? I was confused what we did. That's embarrassing to admit, unquote, she said, adding that she was a good high school student, but didn't deserve to be at USC. Quote, I wasn't slacking in high school. I don't want to discredit myself to the point where I was like, I have all this and I also didn't care. I really did care. I was also a very involved student, she said. Quote, I think I put a lot of trust into a person that claimed their profession was college counseling, and it led me in a wrong direction. It's not to shift blame. It's just to explain that I wasn't aware of what was going on, unquote. There's a quote from the interview that they're conveniently leaving out. And of course, as soon as I say that and I try to reference it from my Twitter decides to grind away without bringing anything up. Let me try that again. Okay, so where was it before? Let me find it. Here it is. Olivia J. Giannulli on admission scandal. Quote, I don't deserve pity.
Yep, true.
And I was like, was anybody pitying her anywhere at all?
Oh, I'm sure some of her little fans are, because she still has quite a following despite what happened.
Yeah.
You know, all you got to do is say, we screwed up. Yeah, you did. The end.
Yeah.
But instead, I didn't know. Bitch, you got on a rowing machine.
Yep.
To have pictures taken so you could be photoshopped.
Yeah, this is the, I cannot admit I had any knowledge of the crime being committed because at the time I was a legal adult and could still be indicted for conspiracy.
Yeah.
I wasn't aware at all. I'm an innocent fawn in the woods. Oh, my parents. Oh, it was a mistake. Like, no. You're just trying to make sure you don't get a criminal record. That's all. Yeah, no. Yeah, plausible deniability. Yeah, throw your parents under the bus. You go ahead. I didn't participate in a fraud. No. I trusted the wrong people. Well, think anybody's going to want to do business with her after this?
Probably, because she's still a cute young lady.
Yep, and she's got a following, and she's an influencer.
Her family name doesn't mean as much anymore.
Well, she doesn't use her family name. She's Olivia Jade.
Yeah, she is.
Okay.
Just like she didn't use her family name to get into college.
Well, family name and $500,000 helps, you know. But anyway, we'll end it there, and we'll move on to the wonderful world of MSS News. So, guys, if you have news stories you'd like us to read on the air, please send them to us via Twitter using the hashtag MSS News. Can't promise we'll get to them all, but I'll do my best. Let's see. This one comes from senior staff reporter and chief Florida correspondent Colleen Bernier. Let's see. Florida man punches cab driver. Oh, we read this before. Screams, I'm Rick James, bitch. Yeah, we read that the other day. That's what happened. I didn't hit the latest tab. That was my problem. I apologize.
Oh, I hate when I do that shit.
Yeah, it's like, whoops. That was my mistake. And I hit the latest tab, and who pops up first? Why? Frosted Glass.
Frosted.
But it's not a Medium article. Oh, no. It's Vox. Vox.com. Asian American lawmakers push for more representation in Biden's cabinet. The Congressional Asian Pacific American Caucus has called for Biden to appoint more AAPI leaders in key roles. President-elect Joe Biden has said he'll build an administration that, quote, looks like America, unquote, but Asian American lawmakers aren't satisfied with what they've seen of his cabinet so far. The Congressional Asian Pacific American Caucus, or CAPAC, is urging Biden to increase the Asian American and Pacific Islander representation among cabinet appointees, a push that the group has been mounting for weeks. Thus far, Biden has nominated Neera Tanden, who is the president of the Center for American Progress and is of Indian descent, as director of the Office of Management and Budget. Vice President-elect Kamala Harris is also of both Jamaican and Indian descent. Previous administrations have had more AAPI representation among cabinet appointees, though there are many roles Biden has yet to announce. Quote, it is vital that those in the highest positions in the executive branch of government reflect the great diversity of our nation, and that includes the selection of AAPIs for cabinet positions, said Representative Grace Meng of New York. the first vice chair of CAPEC, told Vox in a statement, quote, the Biden administration should not go backwards. It should be more diverse and inclusive than past administrations, not less, unquote. Frankly, it feels extremely disrespectful to the AAPI community, said Representative Pramila Jayapal, Democrat of Washington, who expressed dismay. Oh, dismay that the right skin colors aren't up there. Oh my God. This is so stupid. Moving on. This one comes from Massive Dynamics. Bank of Ad pops up in my face.
Bank of Ad?
Yeah,
I've
Bank
never
of
been.
Ad. Bank of Go away. Bank of England told to find out where missing 50 billion pounds in cash is stashed. Okay, the bank estimates that up to 24% of issued notes are used or held for cash transactions, which leaves 50 billion pounds unaccounted for. And by the way, they spent leaves, L-A-V-E-S, which laves. Okay. An investigation to find where around 50 billion pounds of quote-unquote missing banknotes have been quote-unquote stashed should be launched, a committee monitoring the effectiveness of public spending has said. The Public Accounts Committee said the Bank of England needs to, quote, get a better handle on the national currency it holds, unquote. It said authorities have been behind the curve in ensuring access to cash for consumers and businesses and are failing to understand or act on the dangers of hardship if the UK continues moving towards a cashless society. The committee said there are implications for public policy and the public purse if a material proportion of the large volume of banknotes whose whereabouts or use are unknown are being used for illegal purposes. How would you find that if it's spread out amongst God knows where? It's not like it's in a box somewhere, right?
Maybe it is.
It said the Bank of England does not, quote, appear to have a convincing reason for why the demand for notes keeps increasing, unquote, or any real understanding of where around 50 billion pounds of issued sterling notes are. However, the committee acknowledged that it is a trend being seen with other major currencies. The bank estimates that 20% to 24% of issued notes are used or held for cash transactions. This leaves about 50 billion of issued banknotes that may be being used overseas for transactions or savings, or held in the UK as unreported household savings or for use in the shadow economy.
The shadow economy.
Under the table stuff, all the same. Like, how is the bank supposed to find money that's being used internationally or under the table? Like, I don't. Maybe I don't understand how physical cash flow works or the tracking of supply of bank. I don't. Maybe obviously I don't understand it.
Yeah, I don't get it either. So go find that shit, though.
I guess. Okay.
Becca says it's in a suitcase under a table covered in a black cloth.
Probably. Let's see. We talked about the Florida lady. Let's see. What's this? We already. Sorry, Frosted Glass. You only get one bite at the apple. Okay. This one comes from Quinn Harrison. Some North Carolina landlords rejecting HOPE program rent payments for struggling tenants on verge of eviction. Why would you reject free money? When Governor Roy Cooper announced the Housing Opportunity and Prevention of Evictions program, or HOPE, that took a stretch or two, it was a relief for tens of thousands of North Carolinians who were behind on their rent. Thank you, John Migda. New chop in Portland called POV. Yeah, it's a new Chaz taking place in Portland right now. They put up a wall. They're starting to build up a barrier against the cops and everything. It's a Portland, I don't know, whatever POV means. I thought it was supposed to be the Portland Organized Zone or something like POZ. But anyway, yeah, thank you, John. I think there might be a story in MSS News on that. If not, we'll get to it. Okay, according to the North Carolina Office of Recovery and Resiliency, There's a word I hear too often in my videos. The HOPE program received 55,916 applications, 42,681 of which were eligible for funds. So far, the program has assisted 2,641 households. Wait. You had 42,681 eligible applications, but the program's only assisted under 3,000 households. Okay. Thank you, Bacala Driving 8-Man, Portland 76. Did something happen in like 1776? What are we talking about?
Is that what it's supposed to be? Like a throwback to that?
Is it their revolution, their grand revolution? Okay, 2,641 households with $7.9 million in rental assistance and $1.7 million in utility assistance. Okay, approximately 2,000 more households have been awarded funds and are signing agreements totaling $8 million more set to go out soon. Under 3,000, okay, with the extra 2,000, so we'll round it up to 5,000. 5,000 households out of 42,000 eligible applications. Okay. But even after their applications were approved, some renters said their landlords turned away the guaranteed rent. Okay. Quote, I had hope, but I don't anymore, said one Durham single mom who asked to remain anonymous and was apparently unaware of the joke she just made of the whole thing. The mother said she fell several months behind on rent due to the COVID-19 pandemic. And so when her property manager provided her information about the HOPE program, she applied and was approved for 6 months of rent payments. However, she said her landlord said they would not accept the rent. Quote, oh no, we aren't going to accept it because they want us to do certain things, so we don't want to do it, so you're right back at square one, the mother said. What?
But I don't understand why they wouldn't accept it, even with that.
I mean, were there some weird conditions on it if the landlords accepted the rent?
Maybe.
In an email, the landlord told the woman they, quote, do not agree to the overly burdensome agreements contained in the landlord agreement portion of the program. Okay. According to the HOPE program website, landlords must adhere to the following before accepting funds. Agree not to evict the tenant and end any current eviction proceedings until the end of the lease. Agree not to increase rent for the rest of the lease. Agree to maintain a safe and habitable dwelling for the tenant. Agree not to impose new charges, fees, or penalties on the tenant for the rest of the lease. Quote, it's frustrating, the mother said. It's a false sense of hope. And she isn't alone. ABC 11 troubleshooter Diane Wilson heard from several other renters facing the same devastating news. But Haley Pfeiffer Haynes, a representative of the HOPE program, said there is some help available for those tenants. Quote, I'm always sad to hear when a landlord will not participate because that means that the household is not going to get rent assistance, Haynes said.
So, for the life of the lease now, even though this is done for the, is this specifically for COVID or is this just
it's
general?
It's an eviction prevention program. Effectively.
No, I get that, but was this something that was put into place for COVID? Either way, what they're saying is no matter what, you can never charge this person any more than you are right now.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I get them being like, yeah, I'm not going to go along with that.
I mean, if that means like let's say I'm the landlord and I accept a payment today and the lease doesn't end until, I don't know, next year. Let's say they just got there or something. Who knows? And if I accept the payment today and then the person's able to pay their rent a month from now by themselves, because I took that one payment, I can never do anything to them regarding the lease until the end of the lease.
Yeah.
Even if I'm not accepting money from the program after that point.
Yeah.
I think it should. I could see it being so long as you accept payments from this person month to month, or from the government month to month, you have to agree to these things. But once they start paying it on their own, these restrictions fade, something like that. But to say that somehow now they take one payment and this person has a lock on everything for their lease for the duration, that does seem a little ridiculous. Yeah. I don't know if that's the legal interpretation, but that's what it doesn't say otherwise here. So that's a bit odd. Okay. Anyway, moving on. Oh, where was I? And Twitter decided to jump on me at some point, like an ad popped in or something.
Mhm.
And now everything got shuffled again.
Of course.
Okay, can't read that one because it's a paywall. Okay, this one comes from Jack Cochran, the motherfucking Cochran, if it'll come up. Grinnell, why do I know that name? Secret intelligence shows much more on U.S.-China collusion. All right, this is from the Washington Examiner, just as a reference. Former acting director of national intelligence, well, that already makes me suspicious. Former director said that China is a, quote, top security concern and claimed there is much more to U.S.-Chinese relations. Okay. Grinnell, the current special presidential envoy for Serbia and Kosovo peace negotiations, made the comment on Twitter Tuesday morning following a segment on Tucker Carlson Tonight that the host dedicated to the threat that the Chinese government poses to the United States. Quote, this is a must-watch, he said of the segment. Everyone in the intel community knows that China is a top U.S. national security concern, and there's much more that we can't say, unquote. I saw the video, or saw part of it. Did you see that thing?
I did not.
So, and I don't know all the context. And at the same time, I'm also trusting that the subtitles in that video are relaying English correctly. But you had some guy at some conference, and I guess he was some governmental official at some like staged conference thing where he's talking about the history of relations between the U.S. and China. And he says something to the effect of, how do we deal with the Trump administration? Do you know how we've handled U.S. relations for so many years prior to Trump? It's because we had people in the core leadership, et cetera. And he alludes to like basically having advocates and or something more sinister intimately involved in the power structure of Washington, D.C. and the government all these years. And that's how China's kept things going so well until Trump showed up with the trade war and all that, or the tariff war. So, and Tucker Carlson put that on his show the other night. So now that video's all over the place and everybody's like, there are Chinese spies in the government, or previous administrations have been effectively paid agents of the Chinese and so on.
With the Swalwell news today.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that.
We might get to that. Let's see. I thought somebody sent that to us. Let's see. Now we talked about that one. That was from the other day. That was from yesterday. So, okay, let me scroll back up and see if anything. Sorry, guys. Twitter's being goofy, so I got to refresh everything and go back and try this again because it's doing some goofy stuff. Okay, latest. Okay, Frosted Glass. Yep, did that one. Talked about that. That's Frosted Glass. What's this? This one comes from Sean Uli. Citing rise of Christian nationalism, secular Democrats unveil sweeping recommendations for Biden. The Religion News Service. Never heard of it. Let's see. November 30th. Okay, so we're not... Okay. A Democratic group dedicated to representing secular values unveiled a slate of recommendations for President-elect Joe Biden's incoming administration on Monday, November 30th, outlining a sweeping agenda designed to roll back many of President Trump's actions involving religion and to, quote, restore a vision of constitutional secularism, unquote. Who's quoting that? The 28-page document crafted by the Secular Democrats of America PAC. Secular Democrats? Oh, it's a PAC? Oh, okay. Is being presented to the incoming administration by Democratic Representatives Jamie Raskin and Jared Huffman, both co-chairs of the Congressional Free Thought Caucus. Okay. The SDA's agenda offers a wide range of policy recommendations to push back against the so-called, quote, Christian nationalist movement, unquote, which the group describes as an, quote, extraordinarily well-funded and well-organized, unquote, phenomenon whose, quote, extreme and sectarian agenda was on constant display under the Trump-Pence administration, unquote. The Christian nationalist movement?
Sure.
I mean, granted, I didn't listen to every speech Trump gave, but I didn't hear anything more from him that I didn't hear from the past Republican presidents who leaned on evangelicals and such for support. But I don't know. The group offered several recommendations to help reframe concepts of patriotism in ways that are more inclusive. Among them were encouraging politicians to avoid terms like God and country, promoting non-theistic and humanistic chaplains in the military, including non-religious representatives at interfaith gatherings, and suggesting the use of the country's one-time unofficial motto, E pluribus unum, Latin for out of many one, instead of the motto adopted in 1956, In God We Trust, which the group argues excludes non-theists and polytheists. I have a feeling that most of these recommendations will be nodded and smiled at, but otherwise just set aside.
Yeah, nobody's going to care.
Yeah, nobody's going to care. There are a lot of PACs out there that want to do a lot of things, but yeah. So, I mean, if Biden is really looking for unity, the last thing he'd want to do now is start to actively erase God from any reference in America. I don't think he'll get many winners on that one. If he's trying to get, yeah. And even the Democratic Party would be wary of doing anything like that, because not every Democrat lives in New York City or California. Let's see. Was there anything else? Okay, we did that one. Oh, God, there's so much frosted glass. Do I want to do another frosted glass? Monkey, you want another frosted glass? Oh, wait, no, here's one I hadn't read. Sorry. I don't know why these things like appear and disappear. This one comes from Bikal, the Driving Ape Man. Will I be allowed to read this? It's the New York Times. We'll see. He pretended to be Trump's family, then Trump fell for it. Okay. For months, a 21-year-old Trump supporter impersonated Trump family members on Twitter, spreading conspiracy theories, asking for money, and eventually drawing the attention of the president. Last month, between tweets disputing his election loss, President Trump posted an article from a conservative website that said his sister, Elizabeth Trump Grau, had just joined Twitter to publicly back her brother's fight to overturn the vote. Quote, "Thank you, Elizabeth," Mr. Trump wrote on Twitter. "Love." But the Twitter account that prompted the article was not his sister's. It was a fake profile run by Josh Hall, a 21-year-old food delivery driver in Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania. Quote, "I was like, oh my goodness, he actually thinks it's his sister," Mr. Hall, a fervent Trump supporter, said in an interview last week. Okay. It was a surreal coda to nearly a year of deception for Mr. Hall. Okay, since February, he had posed as political figures and their families on Twitter, including 5 of the president's relatives. He had pretended to be Robert Trump, the president's brother, Barron Trump, the president's 14-year-old son, and Dr. Deborah Birx, the White House coronavirus response coordinator. The accounts collectively amassed more than 160,000 followers. Using their identities, he gained attention by mixing off-color political commentary with wild conspiracy theories, including one that the government wanted to implant Americans with microchips, and another that John F. Kennedy Jr., who died in a plane crash in 1999, was alive and about to replace Mike Pence as vice president.
Oh, that guy.
Quote, "There was no nefarious intention behind it," Mr. Hall said. "I was just trying to rally up MAGA supporters and have fun," unquote. Okay.
And how'd that work out for you?
Well, I mean, he got the president to say hi to his fake sister, I guess. Yeah.
Sure.
There you go. Okay. And there is more text to this story than major news stories on CNN. There's got to be like 7 or 8 pages of text on this thing. Good Lord. Really? A Twitter troll gets all this just because Trump fell for it. Like, oh my God. Okay. Let's see. And we'll do one more here and then we'll move on. This one comes from Judge Death. Judge Death. The You ever see the Judge Dredd movie?
No, I haven't.
Oh, it's so good. No, not the Sylvester Stallone one. The what's his name? The guy from The Boys and all that. I forget his name all of a sudden. Anyway, it's great. It's great. It's one of those things like somebody who loved the character and the background did that movie, and they didn't spend $1 zillion on it, and it was still great. I hope we see more movies like that now that Hollywood's basically given up on theaters and understands that we're probably not going to be spending zillions of dollars anymore on blockbusters. I hope. Australia to make Facebook and Google pay news outlets for content. Well, that's a...
How so?
Yeah. Australia finalized plans on Tuesday to make Facebook Incorporated and Google pay its media outlets for news content, a world-first move aimed at protecting independent journalism that has been strongly opposed by the internet giants. Under laws to go to Parliament this week, Treasurer John Frydenberg said the big tech firms must negotiate payments for content that appears on their platforms with local publishers and broadcasters. If they can't strike a deal, a government-appointed arbiter will decide for them.
Okay.
Okay, quote, "This is a huge reform. This is a world first, and the world is watching what happens here in Australia," Frydenberg told reporters. "Our legislation will help ensure that the rules of the digital world mirror the rules of the physical world and ultimately sustain our media landscape." The law amounts to the strongest check of the tech giant's market power globally and follows 3 years of inquiry and consultation, ultimately spilling into a public row in August when the U.S. companies warned it may stop them offering their services in Australia. That sounds like extortion.
Yeah, but I mean,
yeah, well, business.
This is the same thing as what they call them over there, 11 and 13, whatever those were in the EU.
Yeah.
Excuse me, I'm so sorry.
Sorry.
I think this was the Prop 11 one. Are they linking to it, or are they just printing it outright? I'm confused about what they're...
Yeah, let's see. Google said in October it plans to pay $1 billion to publishers globally for their news over the next 3 years. The new product, called Google News Showcase, will launch first in Germany, where it has signed up German newspapers including Der Spiegel, Stern, Die Zeit, and in Brazil with Folha de Sao Paulo, Band, and Infobay. Google last month said that it also signed copyright agreements with 6 French newspapers and magazines, including national dailies Le Monde and Le Figaro. Or Figaro? Figaro. I'm confused. I'm not quite sure how this is all supposed to work. So, on their platforms, what's a Google platform that provides news content aside from the search engine?
I don't know. Are they going to be doing that?
I mean, this new product that hasn't even launched yet will do it, News Showcase. So they're going to have contracts with them. So like their stuff will only appear through the Google thing?
Perhaps.
Okay, well, if they're going to pay them for it, then they're going to be paid for it. So I'm not...
Yeah, I don't understand what they're...
I don't either. I mean... Yeah, I'm just... Yeah, I'm honestly confused. Like, let's see. In changes to draft legislation announced earlier this year that might favor the tech companies, the final version of the law would not affect news content distributed on Facebook's Instagram subsidiary or Google's YouTube. Facebook and Google would also be allowed to include in the negotiations the value of clicks their platforms directed to news websites.
So that'll be part of the negotiated prices.
Sure. I'm a little confused into what this means. I mean, unless this was like a preemptive strike or something against things that Facebook and Google had planned.
Yeah.
I mean, like if Google was just going to start listing news sites on a specific platform without those news sites' permission to be part of their product, then yeah, that would be a problem.
Sure.
But a search engine just giving you, like, I want news from, Mobile, Alabama, and then a link to the Mobile, Alabama Register or something shows up. I click on it, presumably because I've clicked on it through Google. Is Google supposed to be paying that newspaper for my having clicked on their link?
Again, I
honestly
don't know.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm again not knowing exactly what this is saying. I guess it then depends. Is like if a link to my website is content that Google is just taking and making part of their product without talking to me about it first, without me consenting to have my link on their indexing system. That's an interesting theory, isn't it? Okay, anyway, I've confused myself already. Let's see. Advocaz Diablo. It is a move to preclude anyone from being able to start a new platform since everyone will now expect compensation for anything that appears on it. That's interesting. Interesting thing. Does Google have an inherent right to the link to my website to put onto its search engine?
Why wouldn't you want to be there though?
Well, but I mean, that's the thing though. I mean, isn't that inherently what to the monopoly of it?
I guess.
Interesting legal theory, if I even have the correct legal theory. But either way, guys, thank you so much for all the stories. Sorry I didn't get to them all, but going to move on at some point because, I've got other things to talk about. A little bit, maybe, kind of, sort of. Let's move on to the wonderful world of YouTube time. Monkey, what have you been up to?
For the first time in a long time, well, actually, I did this not too long ago, but for me, in a long time, nothing. Absolutely nothing. I did nothing. I was waiting for the thing to come in today, and I was going to do a monkey in the morning when it did, but I also had to be ready to set it up, the new modem, because I'm the computer inclined in my house. Lady Monkey, she did help me set it up. She was so cute. She held things for me. And she did once pull a cord so I could tell which one I was touching. But because I was waiting to do that, I never went ahead and did a game stream. I did nothing. Okay.
All right. Calm down.
Nothing.
It's okay. Calm down.
It's not. I feel so lazy.
Well, you should be feeling that way all the time because you are lazy.
I am, but I'm usually less lazy than I was.
Lazy bones. All right. Well, do you have anything planned for this evening or onward or tomorrow or anything?
I don't know. I mean, I'll probably do a monkey in the morning at some time, but I need to kind of be up again tomorrow during normal hours because I'm going to take my computer over to my son's house to download Cyberpunk because that comes out technically on the 10th, but you can preload right now, and I don't want to waste my internet for it, and he has very, very good internet, so I'm going to run over there real quick. But I also have to be here because our heater has started making noises it's not supposed to make. Not the heater itself, but the pipes.
You mean the thing you just got installed?
Yeah. And this isn't a big deal. It's probably just air in the line. But I don't know how to get it out. My old system, I knew how to get that out. This one, I don't. So they're going to come over and take a look at it, make sure that's all it is. And
wait, who's Aaron and why are they in the line?
They're really small jackasses who get stuck in these things.
Oh, so they're like your gremlins.
Yes.
Monkey's errands.
Pretty easy fix. I don't know how to do it on the new system. So I got to be up again. So we'll see what happens.
All right. Well, as for myself, I'm hosting the show. Cooked up today's thumbnail and theme on the fly, as it were. I attempted to do Voltron, but ran into a couple of problems. One, I couldn't find an image that I could work with because I put in Voltron and I get all these images from like the new Voltron.
Sure.
And it's just a bunch of noisy all over the place anime stuff. And even if I did find an image from the old Voltron, I tried to find one that had like the team lined up or something, but they're all wearing helmets and it's very boring because they're just standing there. And I couldn't find with like them lined up and the robot. Or I couldn't find with them lined up and the robot that was A, the right size to make a thumbnail, and or B, didn't have the title blazoned across the middle that I couldn't alter to like, Lords of the Night or anything. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that kind of hit a brick wall there. I might attempt it at some other point, but instead I reached back to a image that was actually one of the very first thumbnails I ever made for the show back when I was using OBS. And I found the original image and I just changed it a bit, moved the heads around, tried a couple of different things that I've learned in the meantime. So if you recognize tonight's thumbnail, it's not exactly the same as the last one or the one previous, but it's close. Let's see. I have a message here. Is that? Oh yeah, I got to do that too. Let's see. Yeah, people. I just got a message to schedule a next Familiar with the Matter. My friend Sarah over at Rem Alternus Productions, the people who did the Shadows of Chicago, Chicago Shadows Cyberpunk little mini trailer deal. She's got a friend who is a steampunk graphic novelist who's going to have a publication coming out soon on a Kickstarter kind of deal. And
oh, cool.
Going to interview them about graphic novels and comic books and art and stuff. And so it'll be interesting. That should happen sometime in January. I'll let you guys know how that hashes out as things proceed. Otherwise, tomorrow, I may or may not do a TEDx tomorrow. It all depends on work stuff. I have a meeting tomorrow, and so it's all about scheduling. But Thursday, scheduled to appear with your boy Pat on a dual TEDx alliance. So that'll be fun. Then Friday, hosting the show. Saturday, I'm probably taking off because I'm going to spend some time with my sister again. We have some follow-up things we need to take care of. So I might do something on Saturday. It might just not be at the usual time. I'll let you guys know. And then Sunday, this coming Sunday, I'll be doing another tandem TED Excellence with Blind Press. So looking forward to those. And somewhere interspersed in there, I'll probably end up recording and posting more gameplay of my Vampire the Masquerade Coteries of New York deal. We'll see how that goes. That game, I got to tell you, that game really needs to pick up my attention very quick because so far it's just been some very menial decision-making, choose-your-own-adventure kind of stuff, but not a whole lot of movement forward. I think we might be getting there now, but it doesn't feel like even though I know it's basically a visual novel, it doesn't really feel like a game yet. It doesn't feel like I'm making any impactful decisions for the sake of my character or the story. So hopefully we're getting out of the leading you around by the nose stage. Other than that, I think that's all my YouTube stuff. Monkey, do you have any thuggetry for us?
I'm fairly certain I have a little bit.
Okay.
Let me see. Why? What is in my way? There it is. Chat was in my way. I'm like, that's not supposed to be here. I mean, it is, but not when I'm doing this part. Pumpkin sent out, as far as I know, her first tweet ever today.
Yay, Pumpkin!
She was absolutely. She used to be really afraid of this room, and now she loves it. And she comes and sits down at a computer, and I don't know where she gets this from because it's not like her mom and dad have a setup at home. But she sits down. She knows her left hand goes on the keyboard, her right hand goes on the mouse, and she tries very hard. Aww. She doesn't know what the hell she's doing, but she's doing it.
Aww.
Okay, let's see. Chucky Schumer said, imagine holding emergency aid hostage. Help for the unemployed, small businesses, first responders, people, funding to deliver a vaccine to give corporations legal immunity. But that has been the GOP position for 8 months. Senator McConnell, it is past time for the Senate to act.
Wait a second.
Yeah.
Wait a second.
Uh-huh.
You go ahead.
Well, I'm going to just let that hang in the air as I come down and find this other one. Bernie Sanders says Democrats delayed COVID relief.
Yep.
Because he's right. They did. Schumer's talking out of his ass again. Lying is what he's doing.
Yeah, corporate protections was part of the House bill.
Yeah.
They've been putting that in there since the beginning. We talked about that on the show where we listed off what was in the House bill and talked about liability protections and all this other stuff. That guy, is he just stupid or just the worst liar on the planet?
Faithless in chat says she learned it from watching you. She said, from you. She learned it from watching you.
You all right?
I would believe that, and I get what you're going with the joke there.
Mm-hmm.
But she hates being in this room, so she doesn't see me do it that often.
Mm.
I'm thinking it's actually coming from watching Grandma work.
Oh.
So maybe that. And Virgil says, I'm betting 2077 or 2077 is an absolute meth. Nothing that they promised. Well, I don't know anything they promised, so it makes it a lot easier for me to enjoy it.
Monkey's expectations are lower than low.
America's highest earning sex worker sues over lost wages on lockdown.
Oh, no.
Well, someone thinking of hoes. That just made me laugh. Reportedly, she's made millions being a whore out there in Nevada. And she says that the lockdown is being oppressive to whores. And so she's started a GoFundMe, I think it is. She's having trouble getting the money. This millionaire chick is having trouble getting the money to get this suit together.
Oh.
Sweetheart, save your money. You're going to lose. Go suck dick on a corner like a proper whore. And the last one I want to talk about. Oh, no, hang on. I forgot about this one. Eric Swalwell, way back in November, tweeted this. This is what conviction and patriotism look like. There are 0 reasons why a U.S. company should share your data with China. If you don't know why that's funny, well, you weren't paying attention to the news today as it came out that for a while there was a Chinese spy in his office. Yeah. Just made me laugh when that tweet came back. I'm like, but this is the one I want to finish on. Ben Shapiro was responding to somebody saying this, and some of you guys are going to get upset. Just shut the hell up and listen for a second. The guy said, your immune system has a higher success rate at combating COVID than the actual vaccine, 99% versus 95%. And Ben said the vaccine is 95% effective in preventing you from getting the virus and also mitigates the severity of disease. 99% of those who actually get COVID will survive. In other words, get the vaccine, dopes. And Matt Christensen, he responded with this. Come on, dude, there are plenty of reasons to opt out, and it doesn't make you stupid if you choose to. Make a better argument, dope. Well, here's the thing. Ben Shapiro's right here. And here's what, calm down. I can feel some of y'all's buttholes clenching right up. Oh my God. Calm down, listen. The guy was making a math argument. In the math argument, you have a 99% chance of surviving. If you lower that by making it so you have a 95% chance of never getting it, then that's still much lower than just that 99%. So if you're talking the math argument and that's the way you're going, you're actually not being very bright. So whether you want to take the vaccine or not, I'm still up in the air on how I feel about it with how quickly it came out. That's my only question, because I'm not an anti-vaxxer. If somebody told me, I'm not getting the polio vaccine, I'd be like, take the fucking thing, you moron. Same thing with, your shots for your kids. Take the fucking thing, you moron. In this case, I don't know about the safety of it. That's my question. It has nothing to do with the math. Yes, 99% chance. But when you lower that by only having a 5% chance of getting it in the first place, then it's a much, much, much lower number.
Mm-hmm.
So Ben's right, at least in, the math being off. But that's all I got.
All right. Let's see, for myself, I got a bunch of sort of TV shows and stuff on here that happened today or was reported. So for those of you who are fans of The Mandalorian, and those of you that saw the most recent episode, I won't give away any spoiler stuff if you haven't seen it, but this is still interesting because the last episode was directed by Robert Rodriguez. And Robert Rodriguez says, the script for The Mandalorian Chapter 14 only had 19 pages, so he added, quote, a lot of action. Quote, I was just like, this doesn't even feel like a real script. It feels like a fan wrote this in a fever dream hoping that this would be an episode, unquote.
Wow.
And I was like, damn, because didn't Jon Favreau write that one, or was that Filoni? Either one. It was one of the two guys that run the show, and I'm like, holy shit. But the thing is, he's not wrong. If you've seen the episode, like I said, I won't give away any details per se, nothing really happens, and a whole bunch of stuff is really goofy as far as character decisions and things they say and do. It's a whole bunch of long, drawn-out action sequences that have almost no weight to them whatsoever, and just a couple of things in between. And it all seems to be for no other reason to have one big, oh my God, that's so cool, I'm a fanboy moment that honestly was undercut by just how weak the rest of the action was, or the stakes to the whole thing. So if you've seen the episode, you probably know what I'm talking about. Maybe you disagree and thought it was awesome. I came away from it going like, what? So yeah, but that's an interesting, you don't usually hear someone make that blunt a statement about something who's intimately involved with that kind of production. But I guess Robert Rodriguez just didn't give a shit. So let's see. Oh, who is this now? Oh yeah, Chuck Yeager passed away. First person
about that.
Yeah, first person to break the sound barrier. 97 years old.
Damn.
So yeah, he lived a long time. Other news: it has been confirmed that Alfred Molina will be returning as Dr. Octopus in the next Spider-Man movie. As well, what's her name, who played Gwen Stacy in the Amazing Spider-Man movie? She and Garfield are apparently back. And what's her name, who played Mary Jane in the Raimi movies, is also apparently back. Now, how does this work? Well, I had a long discussion with people on Twitter today about the theories behind what they're doing. And so here's the theory as I have it. You have the Sam Raimi Spider-Man. Tobey Maguire is supposedly maybe coming back to show up in this movie.
I thought they'd confirm that him and Garfield were coming back.
I think Maguire's still suspected, but I don't know if it's been confirmed. Either way, more likely than not, the amount of money they'll throw at him. So you get the Sam Raimi Spider-Man, Mary Jane, and Dr. Octopus. You get the Amazing Spider-Man, Gwen Stacy, and Electro, because Jamie Foxx has already confirmed he's coming back, but his Electro in this one is not blue.
Is he going to be yellow like he's supposed to be?
I don't know. Here's my theory. First and foremost, I can only assume that this is some kind of tie-in crossover with the Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness thing, and that we're going to have a Into the Spider-Verse kind of crossover. And I was trying to think of why these three characters from each of these franchises from Sony. And here's my theory. And I don't know if I'm right or wrong. We'll find out. But if you recall from the end of Spider-Man 2, Spider-Man, Dr. Octopus, and Mary Jane are all in the same location for the big final fight, right? And what was going on in that final fight? Well, Dr. Octopus was getting ready to unleash his little mini nuclear fusion sunball thing, right? Okay, so keep that in mind for a second. On the other side, what was happening at the final fight between Spider-Man and Electro in Amazing Spider-Man 2? Well, he was fighting Electro in a giant electrical grid thing with a whole bunch of lightning going off and everything, and Gwen Stacy was there as well, right? Okay, so here's my theory. The tear in the multiverse, which either is a result of whatever the Scarlet Witch is doing or Doctor Strange or whatever, and combined with the massive amounts of energy being unleashed at both of those moments in both of those realities when those fights were happening. Tears the holes in reality at that point because of the weird space-time continuum woodgy. And that's why those specific characters show up in the MCU. And I assume something similar will be taking place at the point in the MCU Spider-Man where this happens. And so then you get a virtual Sinister Six type of thing going on with different universe Electro, Dr. Octopus, probably the Vulture coming back in Spider-Man 3, maybe even Morbius or something. And then it all turns into this big free-for-all before everybody goes back to their respective universes at the end of the movie. That's my guess. Now, why is Electro a different color? Well, here's my other theory on this. So, you know how in the MCU there is a character referred to as MJ, but she's not Mary Jane Watson?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, the reason they did that is because Sony owns the rights to the original iterations of the Spider-Man family of characters. So any character that appears outside of Sony, a Sony production, they might carry a name or a similarity of moniker, but they cannot be an actual physical representation of the character. So that's why you didn't have Mary Jane Watson. You just had a different character with the nickname MJ. That's why Ned Leeds looks nothing like Ned Leeds as rendered in the comic books and so on. You can have these characters have these names, but they cannot be the exact same character. So even though they're going to do this crossover thing, which is going to justify all kinds of crazy stuff that Sony's going to do that's technically MCU but isn't Disney and all that, they have to be just different enough from established characters from what Sony has created. They can be the same actors, they can play the same characters technically, but they just have to be different enough to not cross over with the right stuff. That is my long convoluted guess as to what's going on. But all of this is in service to making what's going on at Sony technically MCU stuff, bringing all the Spider-Men into one quasi-continuity, and probably also making an excuse for why suddenly mutants show up. So I think the multiverse of madness thing going on will be a mechanism to merge the Fox properties into the MCU.
I think somebody just thought it'd be a good idea.
I think it's all silly, but then hey, it's comic books. So what are you going to do? I don't like Spider-Man always being part of some cosmic galactic thing. He gets involved in that stuff once in a while, but it really should be more ground level stuff, you know?
Yeah.
The galactic stuff, that's for, the Guardians of the Galaxy and Doctor Strange. I mean, certain characters have certain lanes they exist in, and that's where they should usually stay.
Stay in your lane, bitch.
Yeah. So we'll see. Unless they decide to turn this into some kind of like, how every year or two Marvel would have some big crossover event, like Secret Wars or Maximum Carnage or something, and like different things to be happening. Or the Infinity Gauntlet was, the grand pappy of all the crossover events. So different comic book series would be touched by this one event, and they'd all have some intertwining stuff. I'm wondering if they're going to be using the Scarlet Witch series plus the Multiverse of Madness movie to just revise history, essentially, or just use it as a sort of J.J. Abrams Star Trek trick to bring in stuff using time travel and all that. Anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my guess. Let's see. Moving on from that. Let's see. So I watched Red Letter Media. They have this series called Half in the Bag where they do movie reviews. It's kind of a, poor man's Siskel and Ebert kind of thing. And they did one the other day. I hadn't gotten to watch it until today. And right in the middle of them filming it, which had to have occurred days ago, they stop in the middle of filming near the end of the video and they say, well, this just came on my phone. Warner Brothers has decided to drop all of its movies for 2021 on HBO Max. And this was news to them at the time, and they start going like, "Holy shit!" They're just giving up on theaters, and then right after they talk about that, Mike, one of the main guys at Red Letter Media, he muses for a second, says, "Gosh, I wonder what the big directors are going to do about this." I mean, imagine Christopher Nolan, like if he thinks Warner Brothers isn't going to take one of his big artsy super duper movies and never put it on IMAX or something and just on a television screen, he might not want to work with them anymore. And I watched that, and then about an hour later on Twitter, this story pops up from the Hollywood Reporter. Christopher Nolan rips HBO Max as, quote, worst streaming service, unquote, denounces Warner Brothers' plan.
Huh.
And I was just like, and this is something that the guys at Red Letter Media do way too often. They will say something in jest or just an offhanded comment about a prediction or something or whatever, and it'll just magically come true by the time it comes out or it becomes relevant again. This was just bizarre.
But aren't they releasing these in theaters as well?
Well, they're going to be on HBO Max exclusively for a month before they hit theaters, is supposedly the last I heard, unless that's changed. So that's the selling point, I guess. I don't know if it's day and date. If that's changed or that was the other thing else, because my original understanding was there was going to be some period of time where these things were exclusively on HBO Max so they could draw in more subscriptions or whatever. And then they were released in the theaters after the fact.
I was watching the Wonder Woman thing the other day, and it was saying that they're being released at the same time. So,
okay, maybe some movies are and some aren't. I don't know.
That could be it too. Yeah.
Pinkala Driving 8 Man, thanks so much. Ryan Johnson is terrified of Red Letter Media. Yeah, they definitely don't like Ryan Johnson over at Red Letter Media. They don't like any of the Star Wars. So they're actually talking about, like, when was the last time we actually went to a theater for a movie? And Jay of Jay and Mikey says, well, that was a Rise of Skywalker. And he's like, oh my God, that was like a year ago. Like, yep, that was the last time we went to a movie theater. Yeah, might be the last movie you ever see in a movie theater. Oh God. Let's see what else happened. Talked about that. Oh, this from Chris Saliza. So it's a rare day when Chris Saliza screenshots a section of an article that he wrote and then clips it, puts it into a tweet, and just says this. You want to know what was really important from Chris today?
Oh God, what did he?
That Trump has turned on Kemp, that's Brian Kemp, governor of Georgia, so viciously should function as a warning to every other Republican elected official, and there are hundreds of them, who either continue to publicly support Trump's ridiculous attempt bid. Chris, you posted your own fucking screw up. Attempt bid to overturn the election or sit silently by as it unfolds. Loyalty is a one-way street for Trump, and you can never, ever engage in enough sycophancy to ensure that you are spared his rage. And I said, really hot take there. Such grand insight and analysis, because we haven't seen this behavior over and over and over again from Trump over the last 4 years. Jeff Sessions much, Chris?
Well, they make it sound like what Trump should just be like, okay, even though you're wildly out of step with me on this one, I'm just going to have your back. Trump calls out literally everybody he has a problem with, whether they're agreeing or disagreeing in different areas. So I've seen them try to make this a thing with Trump. I mean, I've never seen this with any other politician where they're like, he's expected to suck up to people who go against him. Now, Trump makes it more public than anyone else does. Mm-hmm. And that's valid. But otherwise, I don't understand the nonsense. I really don't.
I mean, maybe it's the fact that he's so, shows his public ire so much more unfiltered than past politicians about different things. But loyalty above all else is no new thing. I mean, no. Bush had it in spades. You want to talk about loyalty over even ability? Bush had that to nobody's end. And don't convince me that Obama wasn't a loyalist type person as well. Come on. But yeah, I think it's just, well, first, Chris has got a hard on for Trump. Trump is an easy target because he doesn't do anything like this behind the scenes or whatever. So he's much more public about it. But all the same, Trump being a loyalist and punishing those who aren't loyal. We've seen that over and over and over again. Chris is like taking copy from 4 years ago and just changing the names around and reproducing it again like it's some big hot take. It's like, come on. Let's see. Let's see. All right, guys. DMs and such. Let's see. What else do I have? Go back. Go back. No, not there. Back to my page. What else was going on? Oh, just in time for Christmas, I guess. Charlize Theron campaigns for lesbian version of Die Hard.
Why lesbian? Why does it? Why?
I don't know.
Look, don't get me wrong. I would love to watch her in the lesbian scene. I'm just saying. Oh God, young Charlize. Oh, she was so cute back in like the Devil's Advocate day. Oh, especially with the dark hair. Oh, anyway. But why? Why?
I don't know. Excuse me. She's got other things now. Admittedly, I don't know if she's advocating for her to be in it or just for there to be one. But I'm just like, don't you have Atomic Blonde? Don't you have your own action franchise you could be working on? Anyway, just doing a Ghostbusters 2016 type deal for Die Hard. Like, why? Although I know that at this point, I think Bruce Willis has to sign off on anything dealing with Die Hard. So he'd probably get a payday if he agreed to it. And these days, Bruce Willis will do anything for money. So it might happen. This is completely out of context. And I'm not going to name the person because I blanked out their name and everything. But there was a tweet thread I saw today talking about diversity. And someone posted this early into the tree. I gave it away a little bit there, but let me read this. Quote, I live in a very diverse neighborhood. My home is located with white families directly on both sides. We have Hispanics and other cultures in my neighborhood and many trees.
Okay.
And I was like, horticultural virtue signaling and many trees. That's the thing that caught me. I was like, I guess trees in your neighborhood make your neighborhood diverse amongst the other cultures and Hispanics.
I did miss one, and there's a reason I missed this because the person blocked me.
Oh.
There's a person who said today, and I'm paraphrasing because I don't have my thing up right now, but something to the effect, there's never a reason to ever hit an animal. If you do it, you're a garbage person. If you ever to hit one with your car.
Oh,
if you ever do it, you're a garbage person.
Well, I mean, most of them are usually accidents.
I hit a deer once.
Mm-hmm.
And I went out of my way not to hit that deer. I hit it in the middle of the highway, literally I was straddling the yellow line trying to not hit this goddamn thing.
Yeah.
With my brake pressed as hard as I could, and I still hit this fucker going 45. Because there's hills and shit along a highway, and they like to run the fuck out between there. But yes, apparently you're a garbage person if you ever hit one. Mm-hmm. So I'm a garbage person, y'all.
Yeah, admittedly, if you say something like intentionally running down an animal,
sure,
that's different. But just like hitting I think most times if an animal is hit, it's an accident or the animal ran in front of the car or something. Let's see. I think that's all I've got. So that being said, it's question time. So chat if you have questions, comments, concerns, complaints, conspiracy theories. If you have, I don't know, at least somewhat into the theme of the show, if you have anything you'd like to, get excited out over for Cyberpunk, I don't know. I've heard different things from people so far about those who have played it ahead of time. Like I said, I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait for there to be a bit more exposure before I decide to drop $60 on it. Let's see. Give me a second here. Sorry, guys. Let's see. Mata Winter. Oh, Lords. Would y'all try a chicken breast wrapped in pork chop, wrapped in a steak, a bowl of baked cheddar potato chips, and a Santa cup of lime water?
What now?
Chicken breast wrapped in pork chop, wrapped in a steak.
Can you do that? Because, I would eat that.
Yeah, you could probably do that. And a bowl of baked cheddar potato chips.
Sure.
Yeah, sure. Lime water, I mean, like no carbonation or anything?
I'm not the biggest fan of any of those just like regular flavored waters. They always taste like ass to me.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be my first, but let's see. Chaos Eve. Ooh, damn. Scene looks good, Scribe. Which scene? What, the thumbnail or something else? I don't know. Also, where was it on here? I had it. If you did not already know, Chaos Eve is this month's Gamers Haven Community Spotlight subject.
Sweet.
So the Gamers Haven Network has spotlighted Chaos Eve. So go check out our Twitch. Adonis Bartolote, Low Scribe, has the ex-best friend of yours added you back on Facebook since you didn't vote this year, and Joe having won, that would mean you voted for him and not Trump. She and I haven't spoken in, God, I want to say 3 years now or so. She burned that bridge pretty completely, unfortunately. I don't have any animosity towards her or anything, but it was such an instantaneous and very acidic sort of erasure of a decade's worth of friendship over this one thing, which was completely ridiculous. And it's something that doesn't easily heal, let's say. So that, not to be a downer, but that's just, the way it was, the way it is. I said yesterday on the TEDx when we were talking about the drug addict lady, and she kept saying something like, are you open about your past mistakes and everything else? Are you ashamed of them? And I was like, nope, I'm pretty much an open book. I don't talk about everything all the time except when it's relevant, but I'm not really ashamed. I mean, there are things in my past that I'm not proud of, obviously, and I talk about them. It's not something I'm touting, but they don't weigh me down like I have to keep them like some big secret or something. That's just a long way of saying sometimes I say too much. Pyrus Creed, how long until we start using zodiac signs for first person to fill exposition? Oh, right. Yeah, this is the first Taurus to fill. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of categories to go through yet. So that was one of my other... Oh, yeah, I forgot to do this one on fucketry. This was a tweet from CNN. Joe Biden is expected to nominate Representative Marcia Fudge as Housing and Urban Development Secretary, sources say, which would add another black woman to his cabinet. And I said, really boiling it down for us, huh, CNN? They just don't know when to stop, do they?
Nope.
Let's see. Virgil Grin, pro tip, never swerve for any animal, just hit the fucker. If they find tire tracks, the insurance company is going to blame you.
My insurance company did not blame me.
Yeah.
I've heard that before, and I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying it wasn't my experience with what I did there.
KSC says, Scribe Light, I'm playing it Thursday night on my channel if you want to get a look at it. I will attempt to be there, depending on the timing. Because work nights are work nights, but I will make an effort. Pinkall, the driving it man. Fish and game in both our countries agree. If you hit it with your bumper, you can keep it. Okay. Wes Wolliver, Scribe Light. What is your opinion of the movie The Secretary? Secretary. Yes, James Spader and Maggie Gyllenhaal. I mean, I like it. It's sort of like the much more educational and more entertaining version of 50 Shades of Grey, which is funny because the main character, James Spader, his name is Mr. Grey. I'm not sure about the timing of the publication. I'm pretty sure Secretary came out before that. Pretty sure, long before that. So, of course, the author of 50 Shades of Grey wouldn't steal from other media some of her ideas. No. But anyway, yeah, no, it's a great movie. It is an interesting introduction to the world of kink and BDSM. I always liked it. So yeah, I like it. It kind of shows the, I guess you don't have to take it so seriously kind of side of it. And it also really does show the dynamics in a not leading you around by the nose way as the characters develop, and especially when the ex-girlfriend first shows up at the beginning, and how Maggie Gyllenhaal is acting at the very end. It's one of the better profiles of that kind of dynamic. And then chat jumped because of course it did. Ebony Williams, ever simped for anyone, Scribe? Well, I mean, the term as it is now, I mean, I've been smitten in the past and done some stupid things to impress girls in my youth. Sure. I don't think there's very many people that haven't. As it is defined today, no. Thankfully, I grew out of my simping phase a long time ago. So no.
I ain't never simped. I like good pussy.
Well, it was never really that. I did stupid things to impress girls, but I didn't actually start becoming sexually active till my 20s. So
mediocre pussy and pee.
Yeah.
No, good pussy. Skip. I don't know how you say that.
Okay. Check your logic. Didn't you technically vote for Biden twice? Oh, by not voting for either one? Yeah. I did, yeah. That's true. Oh, yeah. Boy, yeah. That's me. Not voting technically means I supported him twice, yes. Understatement. Lords of the Night, I'm surprised you guys didn't cover the Texas and other states versus the 4 swing states, i.e. the Republican Avengers starring Ted Cruz as Nick Fury.
I mean, we kind of sort of did.
Yeah, we mentioned the Texas lawsuit that was still upcoming and the 6-3 decision by the Supreme Court to hear it. Yeah. But there wasn't any real news on it yet because it hasn't actually hit the court. So, I don't know. Mr. No, Scribe Light, have you seen Brewster's Millions? Long time ago. I know.
Which one?
Oh, that's right. There are 2 of them, aren't there?
Yes, the Richard Pryor one was a remake.
That's right. Yeah, I think that's the one I saw. Yeah, long time ago. Let's see. JB, who put the bump in the bump ba-dum? Who put the ram in the ram ding dong? Who was that man? I'd like to shake his hand. He made my baby fall in love with me. Mata Winter, coincidentally enough, Scribe, you are such a good singer. Where did you learn to sing like an angel with a spiked butt plug up its bum?
Wow.
Damn. Well, I guess just singing a lot. I'll never sing again. No. Tech Alpaca, do you ever listen to Trans-Siberian Orchestra? Not targetedly, no.
Lady Monkey loves them. And one of the things I would love to do is be able to take her to one of their performances.
Oh.
Because they do come to Grand Rapids now and then. And maybe one day we will. But yeah, she fucking loves them.
Mr. No, Ranting Monkey, have you seen Silver Streak?
Silver Streak.
That's a Richard Pryor, Gene Wilder movie, if I'm not mistaken.
I have seen all of their movies back when they first came out. I was never a big fan of any of them. Because they did like 3 together, right? 3 big ones.
Well, there's See No Evil, Hear No Evil.
Yeah, which was not funny at all.
No, there was Silver Streak, and then oh god,
what was the one where they Stir Crazy when they were in prison?
Oh yeah, that's right, Stir Crazy. Yeah.
So I've seen all of those. Now, do I remember them? Not very well.
Quinn the Gultus, Scribe Light, how many licks does it take to get the center of a Tootsie Pop? 3. That's what Mr. Owl said, so I don't have any reason to disbelieve Mr. Owl. Cannibalistic Wizard, is Satsu not here because he's tired, or is it really because Dogcat Fox grabbed him? We know the truth. Only Satsu can say for sure. Mr. No, Lords of the Night, have you seen Howard the Duck? Yes, at least
long time ago.
Yeah, a long time ago, and I've seen it at least twice. One, I think my parents rented it on VHS back in the olden days, and that's the first time I saw it. And then I think I saw it on like TBS or something many years later, something like that. And then chat jumped again because, of course, it does. Sean Uli, what's your favorite John Hughes film? Oh, probably either Breakfast Club or Uncle Buck, I suppose.
I would have to know what they all are.
Yeah, there's a lot of them.
I don't have the best memory for that stuff, but he made a lot of good stuff.
Massive Dynamics. Lords of the Night, have you heard that the Pfizer vaccine may cause infertility in women? Well, we've heard Bell's palsy. Lots of things that could do. I don't know. Like I say, the first round of people that'll get the vaccines will also, unfortunately, be the largest test subjects of it as well. So, guess we'll see. Parody Bear, I can wait to play Cyberpunk so I can spend time avoiding drugs and sodomy. Call me old-fashioned or some shit. Point is, it looks like Transformers of a game, mostly imagery, low substance value. I don't know. Truth be told, I've never played a CD Projekt Red game. I've heard all the wonderful things about The Witcher, of course. And there's been so much drama over the production of this game and the amount of time it's taken and all the behind-the-scenes shenanigans at the company and this, that, and the other. I don't know. That's why I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait. If I was a fan of the game, the tabletop game back in the day, I'm a fan of the genre. But I'm going to wait to drop $60 or whatever on it until it's had some room to breathe and had some time to see what needs to be done, if anything. Michael Hatfield. My uncle hit a doe with his truck, even though he was being careful. He field dressed it and took it home and butchered it. He had brush guards, so he didn't have any damage. Well,
sweet. Mine, when I hit the deer, it was 8,000 to 10,000. I forget the exact amount in damage to the car. When Lady Monkey hit hers, it was about the same. One of my children has hit one. It was like $5,000. They will fuck a car up, man. They will fuck a car up.
Faithless said my singing is atrocious. Oh, okay. Thanks.
So is mine, and I don't give a damn.
Mr. No, have you seen Murphy's Law starring Charles Bronson?
Murphy's Law.
Sounds familiar, but I don't think I've ever seen it. Ebony Williams says, don't listen to the hater, Scribe. Your singing is pretty good.
Pretty good.
That's pretty good. Yeah.
That's better than horrible.
I guess that's better than atrocious. That's all right. Thank you, Ebony. How does morning talk radio rank in terms of worst things humanity has ever invented? It depends on the show. I mean, I don't listen to it anymore. I listen to the news in the morning, and that's about it. But talk radio otherwise, I guess it depends on the show and what you like.
And what you're defining as talk radio. If you're talking about like morning news and sports kind of stuff, I enjoy that. If you're talking about the old morning zoos, man, I used to love those. That was my favorite thing to wake up to when I was in high school.
Yeah. Let's see.
Y'all some haters today.
I know. Well, I don't see any questions, just people saying things. L. Wolf, apparently Israel knew aliens exist, but kept it to themselves. Yeah, I saw that. The Galactic Alliance or whatever that one Israeli official said.
That was like straight out of Star Trek.
Yeah, I don't really know how to take that. It's one of those things where it's like, I don't disbelieve that there are other intelligences out there. The universe is too big. The odds are too good that there's other things out there. Question is, have they made contact? Have they arrived here in some way, shape, or form? Like I say, I'll believe it when I see it.
But you're not going to see it because they're going to hide it from you.
Well, I know. That's the thing. But
I just thought it was great. I thought that the whole thing, because it is literally a Star Trek plot.
Yeah. Let's see. Mr. No Scribelight, have you seen The Cooler starring Alec Baldwin? I have seen The Cooler. I mean, it has Alec Baldwin in it, but it's also the lead actor is that guy whose name I suddenly can't remember, whose wife was first arrested in the whole academic scandal.
Macy?
Yeah, Macy. William H. Macy, that's what it's called. My brain is all over the place. Yeah, so yeah, William H. Macy, The Cooler. Interesting little movie. It's one of those things that's like fun concept, good acting, didn't cost $1 zillion. There's a lot of little sort of kooky / noir movies that are like that. There's that. Hard 8. If you guys ever want to see a good little noir movie, neo noir, Hard 8. Let's see. Oh God! And again, I'm doing it again. The guy who's always doing movies with Will Ferrell.
I don't know.
John C. Reilly. John C. Reilly. That Baker guy from what?
Did they just get everybody who has a middle initial? William H. Macy, so. John C. Reilly.
Well, I think that's how they have to distinguish themselves from like
George C. Scott.
George C. Scott. Yeah, just to like make sure their stage names have some specificity to them. Anyway, sure. Yeah. Look up Hard 8 if you guys haven't seen it already. It's a good one. Data Wasteland Scribe, don't let him razz you. You got a hell of a set of pipes. Well, I can't stop them from razzing me. It's an open chat. Oh. Let's see. Jack Gunsky, do you believe that aliens might be watching Quippers United after the show?
No.
They might be the only ones watching. Oh. Tech Alpaca, do you usually get around to eating Christmas cookies during the holiday season? Usually, not this year because I can't go anywhere. I guess I could go buy a box of them or something, but haven't done that yet. So
I'm not a big holiday cookie kind of guy. I like cookies, but
Peter Silakades 313, Scribe is a beautiful singer. Don't worry, Scribbles. I got your back. You're no ranting monkey, but you still have a wonderful.
Wow. You should be offended as fuck is that.
Man, is there a wood chipper around here I can just dive into?
Wow.
Damn. All right, man. I get ground up and thrown out on that one. Let's see. Ost Sand Scribelight, have you seen War on Everyone? No. I do own a copy of The Punisher Kills the Marvel Universe, which is a great comic book, but I don't know what the War on Everyone is. Motto Winner Scribe, why do you think me saying you have the voice of an angel is saying you have a bad singing voice? I don't think it was the voice of the angel part. I think it was the other part that kind of made me go, what? Like a screeching angel or something? An angel in pain? JB, favorite Shrek movie? I don't know. First, I stopped really liking them after the second one. I've seen one or I think I've seen the third one sometime and parts of one of the other ones, but yeah, the first and the second one were fine.
I love the first one. I do. And my second love would probably be the fourth one. I watched those so much with Little Butt. Oh my God, we watched a ton of Shrek.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's the first one is hard to beat. It really is.
Yeah, it's everything else is kind of like trying to recreate the magic of that first one. So.
And that's kind of what they did in 4 because they take him back to just being an ogre and nobody liking ogres. So it was kind of a neat one to go to.
Massive Dynamics Scribelight. Lawton, have any of you seen the film Thursday with Thomas Jane? No.
Not that I can remember.
I like Thomas Jane. I'll always appreciate him for his dedication to the character of the Punisher. If you guys haven't seen the movie Stander with Thomas Jane in it, I highly recommend that one too. True story, bank robber stuff, really good. Let's see.
Plus, Dirty Laundry. Come on, I mean,
Dirty. Oh my God, yeah. If you guys haven't heard us talk about this enough, go onto YouTube, put in hashtag Dirty Laundry, all one word. Short Punisher film, just done for the fans. Thomas Jane. It's about 10 minutes long, something like that. Whatever.
Like that,
yeah, but it is the most perfect distilled short story Punisher thing. It really came across like I've actually got a comic book issue of the Punisher from way back then that's kind of like that. It all takes place on this one block in this one ratty part of town, and the Punisher is almost like a side character to what's going on because the events all deal with the neighborhood having to deal with some drug dealers, and the Punisher kind of shows up. I don't know. Maybe they got inspiration from that comic book for that because it's a good comic book. But yeah, no. Of all the renditions of the Punisher in film so far, that one all by itself is the best. The performance and movie of Thomas Jane, The Punisher 2004, it's not terrible. It's not great. And there's some issues I have with it. And especially if you can find a copy of the uncut version of the director's cut, that's certainly much better. It has a whole bunch of stuff in it that explains at least one subplot much more clearly. The Punisher Warzone movie with Ray Stevens, he looks the character much more accurately. There's a lot of things about that movie's aesthetic I like, but the villain is ridiculous. There's a lot of stupid stuff in there. If you could merge those two movies together, take all the best parts, it'd be really good. The TV series on Netflix, if you want to know my thoughts on the TV series, I've got 2 streams on my channel under the reviews thing about the Punisher Netflix series, season 1 and 2, and I go into some length about my thoughts on those. But yeah, Dirty Laundry. If you never had any experience with the Punisher and just want to have a quick little sample of what the character's like, look up Dirty Laundry. Or get the comic.
I want to talk about the TV series because this is one where you and I can differ.
Okay.
I'm very, very loyal to my Spider-Man, and you guys have heard me about that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not as well versed in Punisher, so I was able to like that character, but I liked him not as the Punisher, just as a kind of badass based very loosely off him.
Yeah.
It was still a decent show if you can separate it from being the Punisher, which you're much bigger fan than I am, so I can understand why you wouldn't.
Yeah.
Because that's how I am with Spider-Man. So I get where you come from, but if you guys haven't seen it, it's still worth watching if you're not a huge Punisher fan.
Yeah, I mean, if you're coming at it from someone who can't spot the inherent problems with from my opinion, the inherent problems with the characterization and the chain of events and things, sure, it'll probably be an interesting, exciting show and so on. But unfortunately, as a representation of the character, like I say, if you want to know my thoughts, I think it's actually one of the videos that's on my front page because it's one of the few videos I have that's got a couple thousand views on it. But if you don't listen to anything else about it, just listen like the first 10 minutes or so of that stream, because I go into detail about the origins of the character and some of the sort of original sins of this iteration of the Punisher that kind of ruin what the character was meant to be. So just a self-plug there if you guys are interested in that kind of stuff. Mr. No, Scribe Light, will you show up at Quippers United tonight after 11:30 p.m. on Jack Gunsky's channel? No, because I'll be sleeping. I got to be up at 4 a.m. tomorrow per usual. I got a work meeting, or at least a phone-in meeting tomorrow I got to be ready for and all that. So let's see. Who else? Anything else, guys? Because we're just about at the top here. Lady Gopher says, my dad made it through surgery and is awake. No tubes and no breathing problems. Thank you all for your support. Yay!
Good to hear. Good to hear.
Yeah, excellent news. Thank you. Thanks for the update. Hope he heals up quick and enjoys his new hip. Motto Winter. Oh, Lords, can we shave DCF for charity?
Why?
Okay, I know I'm going to sound like a moron for asking. What's DCF mean?
Dog, cat, fox.
Oh, no. I don't know.
I loved it because I got it immediately. I'm going to sound like a moron. I'm like, yeah, this is your thing.
Well, I knew I would, so you can't blame me.
Good call.
Because, I mean, well, earlier I said South Carolina, and I was like, no, it's the Supreme Court. So it's like, I'm not taking any chances. Peter, Silent K is 3 and 3. Scribelight, are your DMs open? I'd like to send you a quick message. My DMs are not open, but I thought it. Do you have a? Yeah, just send out a tweet, tag me in it, and I'll follow you and we can talk. That's fine. Mr. No, Lords of the Night, have you seen Land Before Time 1? The first one, yes. All the others, no.
I have seen probably the first 5 or 6. The second one's great with Chomper. The first one's kind of depressing, and then from there they try to make it more of a friendly kids movie. But yeah, Land Before Time's great.
Yeah, I remember the first one. Sorry?
Oh, he falled.
Oh, he followed, yeah.
He falled.
Let's see. And Data Wasteland says, Scribe, in 2 weeks, it will be 2 years without a cigarette. Well, congratulations.
Congrats, David.
That is, that's a great achievement. My dad, he was a smoker most of his entire life. And then when he started dating my mother, and she looked at him and said, I'm allergic to those and they make me sick, he stopped cold turkey and never smoked again. And that is love.
That's some serious simping right there.
Yeah, that's right. My dad was a tote simp for my mom.
And you know what? Good for him.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they've been around. They've been together ever since then. And I'm a result, partially. But with that, guys, we're at the top of the hour, and that's the end of the show. So everyone, thank you so much for joining us. You guys are the greatest audience in the world. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, moderators, for keeping an eye on things. Everyone who donated, thank you so much for your generosity. Really do appreciate it. All go towards horrible things I'll put into my body, like goldfish crackers and Jack Daniels, all to help lubricate my brain for the next TED Excellence, which may be tomorrow. Just, watch this space kind of thing. It all depends on my work schedule and that kind of thing. But for sure, on Thursday, I'll be doing one with your boy, Pat. And then on Sunday, I'll be doing one with Blind Press and maybe some stuff in between. Monkey, where can people find you next?
I don't know.
Okay, well, thank you, Monkey. Well, everyone, hope you're all safe and well. If you're not well, please get well soon, as I always say at the end of my other broadcasts. And with that, Monkey, thank you for joining me as always.
Indeed.
Everyone, your lives make us sad, and we will see you tomorrow.
Bye, guys.
And taking out my copy of Screw the Roses, Send Me the Thorns, the romance and sexual sorcery of sadomasochism.
Sadomasochism.
Now recommended by one Chat Mort, who got herself a copy. Or at least I assume she recommends it because she was just starting to look at it last I talked to her about it. And today's secret word is relaxation. Relaxation. I'm going to need some of that right now because I need to go to sleep.